Hello and welcome CitySpidey viewers to our fourth episode of CityFit. And under CityFit, we are carrying this series called Matters of the Heart. And I have a very special guest, Dr. Anil Dhall. Dr. Anil Dhall heads the cardiology department at Janakpuri Super Speciality Hospital, and he's a renowned cardiologist. He's a Sena Medal winner. Welcome, sir, once again to our show.
Thank you, Ketan.
Yeah,
good to be back.
Great, sir. So in today's show, what we are going to discuss is basically cigarette and smoking and its impact on heart disease. So let me again, in the spirit of the show, start with a Bollywood couplet. Everyone has heard the song, the famous Devanand song, हर फिक्र को धुएं में उड़ाता चला गया, मैं जिंदगी का साथ निभाता चला गया. So the popular culture has shown smoking as more stylish, as stress relieving and anything. However, a proper scientific study shows that smoking is anything but that. It can have a negative impact. In fact, long exposure to smoking can also increase the incidence of heart disease. So, sir, my opening question is that let's break the myth for all our viewers and tell them about how much negative impact can long exposure of smoking have on your health.
Can I start by saying something disruptive? With your permission, I'd like to just tell all our viewers, no Indian can afford to use tobacco. It's as simple as that. Chahe aap, I also loved the Major Sahab in Devanand's that movie. Because being from a Fauji background and really when I was a child, I used to be very enamored of people. It looks so smart and elegant to be with a cigarette in your hand, and the advertisements which used to come in Time and Newsweek or the Marlborough County Man, they look so smart. But really, there is no Indian can afford to use tobacco. Tobacco kills up to half of its users. Up to half of its users are going to die because of tobacco. This tobacco can, if it doesn't kill you because of heart disease or vascular disease or stroke, it is going to kill you because you're going to have lung cancers, you're going to have obstructive airway disease, and so on and so forth. So tobacco, if you don't smoke it and you chew it, well, you will get oral cancers. You know that North India, rather all of India, is one of the leading cancers is oral cancers, and a large number of these oral cancers are because of tobacco abuse. So let me tell you, 8 million people every year die because of tobacco. 7 million of them die because of direct tobacco use. About 1.5 million die because of, not only because they may not be using tobacco directly, but they are getting second-hand smoke. They are in the vicinity of tobacco users. So even they die because of tobacco. So if I smoke, my smoking is not only injurious to my health, it is also injurious to the health of my loved ones and those unfortunate people who may not love me, but who are in my vicinity. So one must also understand that 80% of 1.3 billion tobacco users the world over live in low and middle income countries like ours. So tobacco kills, and tobacco in Indians is a double whammy. We should not go near tobacco.
The second question that you started with tobacco use, and Indians typically eat tobacco, chew tobacco, and you said that can cause oral cancer. However, now we are talking about the direct impact of smoke, not just on your lungs, but also on how your heart functions. So can you break that for our viewers, sir?
एक कहा जाता है कि every cigarette that you smoke shortens your life by 14 minutes. And I normally use this line with my patients who come to consult me and say, Doctor Sahab, kam kar diya hai. देखिए, I was at 40 cigarettes, now I'm at 10. धीरे धीरे करके कम कर दूंगा. And I tell them, you cannot be a little bit pregnant. So you cannot really do things. आप थोड़ा सा जहर नहीं ले सकते, तो हल्का सा वाइपर बाइट नहीं हो सकता. No level of smoking is safe. Even one cigarette daily accounts for half the risk of coronary artery disease caused by smoking 20 cigarettes a day. So we can understand that it is variety of different levels at which smoking can affect us.
So you said specifically that Indians are more at risk. So is it a genetic risk? Is it because there is incidence of pollution around us in most of our crowded
cities? I would put it multiple ways. Genetics is the substrate. The environment pulls the trigger. So the genetics is the gun, and the environment pulls the trigger. So the environment includes the pollution, includes tobacco, and there are 2-3 ways by which I would like to amplify this statement. Number one, as we have pointed out in our previous issues of CityFit, as it is, Indians are at the highest ethnic risk of coronary artery disease and atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease anywhere in the world. Now, on top of this risk, in modern urban India, we have enormous amounts of particulate matter pollution. Now, which means to say that our lungs, even those of us like you and me, at least me, I can say, who don't smoke, our lungs would be like people who are smokers. On top of this, if we further inhale tobacco and smoke, well, we are causing for a double trouble many times over. So
using your own term, we already have a little wiper bite, and we are not starting from zero when it comes to risk exposure caused due to smoking.
Yeah, maybe, but to some extent we can be protected. But as we increase the poison, well, the effects are there for you to see.
Yes, that's a very important point that you made, Dr. Dhall, because you said that there are sociological reasons, there is peer pressure, and of course there is this whole advertising industry who shows smoking as cool. However, our discussion in the last 10 minutes has shown that it is anything but cool. You mentioned the role of passive smoking. Can you elaborate it a little more? Because we are a community. So
I would really put it this way:
passive smoking have?
That this is one weapon which kills from both ends. So the guy who is smoking is probably the primary target, and maybe 7 million people die because they smoke. And the smoke which is in the atmosphere, it is also inhaled by other people in the room. And that also kills about 1.5 million people the world over. So that is your secondary target. And this is passive or second-hand smoking. So when we take history from people, we ask, do you smoke, do you not smoke? Firstly, a lot of people tell lies even when they come to their doctor, even if it is to save their life. They won't tell us that they actually smoke, because then they'll say, oh, my father was sitting there. How could I tell in his presence that I smoke? And the second problem is that when we take history, especially from family members of smokers, we also have to take history whether anybody else in the family or in the office or a closed societal circuit smokes a lot, because that itself can be detrimental, because that passive smoke is also inhaled, and that also has all the chemicals which can do all the damage, which so I would say, in your words, like you started vertically, these people, these 1.5 million people who die, they have all the disadvantages without having any of the so-called fun of having smoked, or the relaxation, as you call it, as Devanand would have wanted us to believe, by that puff of smoke.
Well, there is a term in photography about no filter photography. There is often the smoking lobby talks about, we have better filters, and these are mild cigarettes, these are strong cigarettes, and these are mild cigarettes.
Can I just take you away from there? Can I just tell you that there is no filter which can prevent the evil effects of tobacco? Precisely. Number two, even vaping, even e-cigarettes, even shisha, which is a current millennial fad. Fortunately, I think during the corona pandemic, there have been less shisha bars, but earlier there was this a lot of shisha bars that emerged, where people would go and have this mentholated tobacco or something, and all these have been associated with increased risk of both heart disease, vascular disease, strokes, and cancers, and therefore they need to be avoided. There is no filter to date which can prevent you from getting either heart disease or lung cancers. Secondly, there is a lot of myth among some people. Oh, he's okay because he smokes a bidi. I'm sorry, a bidi has the same risk as a cigarette or a cigarillo or a cigar. Only the inhalational impact may be a little different, and it doesn't matter. Come what may, give up on tobacco. That has to be the moral of the story.
Absolutely. The simple message is give up on tobacco, be it shisha, be it a bidi, be it a cigarette, a mild cigarette with better filters. These are all close cousins. That's the limited conclusion here. And as you pointed out, the big takeaway from this discussion today is that
Japan, they banned smoking in all public venues. It's banned in India, but including things like restaurants and hotels, including bars. And this led to incidents of heart attacks coming down by 20%. This itself. So you were talking about secondhand smoke. I think it's a very relevant thing that we should know, that this can benefit if we actually discourage people from smoking in public places.
Absolutely. And again, I would like to conclude by reiterating or saying what you just said, that it's quite commonly known that smoking causes cancer. Yes, it indeed causes cancer. However, the risk of getting a heart disease due to smoking is way more as compared to the risk to get cancer. So thanks a lot, because this program, we have been discussing many factors that cause heart disease or have a relation to heart disease. However, this program, I feel, is very important because it is directly connected to the community, and there were many myths, there were many perceptions that you cleared today. So I would like to really thank you for joining us. And if you want to make any ending comments,
I have not thought of a couplet, except to say that mankind cannot afford tobacco, and definitely no Indian can afford tobacco, because tobacco kills certainly, kills half the people that it is going to touch. So avoid peer pressure, avoid that yaar ek sutta le le, and that macho image of people who smoke. Get rid of it. You'll lead healthier and better lives. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Thanks, Doctor, for joining us. And I would like to end this on a note that there are no ifs and buts. You only need to kick the butt. And here we are talking about cigarettes. So yeah. So thanks, Doctor, for joining us. And we will come again with a new episode of Matters of the Heart next week. Thank you, viewers.
Thank you.